Hello, and welcome to Autistically Unapologetic, the unfiltered and unmasked podcast about everything autism. Here's your host, Devin Morrissey.
Hi, and welcome to Autistically Unapologetic with me, Devin Morrissey. This is my very first episode ever of this podcast, and this is a brief introduction to an autistic powerhouse. Again, I am Devin Morrissey, and I am an autism advocate, I'm a blogger, and I'm a public and motivational speaker. I'm also a supporting cast member on the US version of Netflix's and Northern Pictures' Love on the Spectrum US. First and foremost, I want to kick off this episode by thanking just a few people. I want to thank first and foremost my family. They are my rock. They have really sacrificed so much for me to live the life that I have now. When the doctors that first diagnosed me didn't think that any of this was possible. I want to thank my friends. They know who they are, that have been incredibly supportive and that have been cheering me on as I launch this new chapter in my life, whether they've known me since childhood, whether they've known me since college, or whether they are fellow castmates from Love on the Spectrum. Lastly, I want to thank my girlfriend. My girlfriend, Andrea, has been very, very, very supportive of me launching this podcast and was really the main cheerleader behind me doing this. It's not very easy being so open and honest about being on the spectrum, especially in front of a huge spotlight, but my girlfriend has been my biggest cheerleader every step of the way. So Andrea, if you're listening to this, I love you and thank you for being my everything. I was born and raised in Danville, California. I lived there my entire life with my mom, my dad, and my younger sister. I was diagnosed autistic at the age of 3 years old, and I gotta be honest, it was really hard for me growing up fitting the status quo. I felt it really difficult for accepting myself for who I am as a person on the autism spectrum. And as a result, I masked for many years and I blended in with the non-autistic crowd that honestly, I forgot sight of who I really am as a person. I moved to Los Angeles right after graduating from high school. I ended up getting my bachelor's degree in liberal arts and music from Whittier College, aka Richard Nixon's alma mater. And then I decided I wanted to go even a step further and get my master's degree in education from the University of Southern California. So to all of my fellow Trojans out there, fight on. In 2017, I launched my autistic informational blog called Autistic Superpower. The blog has gone into more depth of autism-related topics, and I've even talked about my own life experience growing up as a person on the spectrum. Now, on this blog, I spoke about everything autistic related, from learning how to speak through music to even tips and tricks for autistic people finding love. Autistic Superpower is my real first opportunity to open up about being autistic in front of everyone, which is honestly not always easy, but it's so worth it to be so open and honest about being autistic. I've had the opportunities to speak on several different podcasts and events, including the 2023 Autism Investor Summit. I'm also a supporting cast member of Netflix's and Northern Pictures' 3-time Emmy Award-winning show, Love on the Spectrum US. I was on episode 1 with main cast member and one of my best friends, Danny Bowman, where I say, cheers to us autistic people going through leaps and bounds, now possibly finding love. The show really was an incredible experience to be a part of, and I'll be honest, I didn't really realize how many lives we were touching and we were influencing until the show came out. And it has been a truly incredible experience being able to get so many kind messages from all over the world. A fun fact about the show, I actually have a girlfriend that I met outside of the show. So for those of you that watched my episode where I said I have myself a 4th date coming up, same girl, that is my girlfriend. And we've now been boyfriend and girlfriend for the past 2+ years. And honestly, I could not be happier. Now, I know that many of you are probably wondering, okay, he has this successful blog that he's been doing for the past 6 years. He's been on Netflix and other pictures. Why does he want to do a podcast? Well, for several reasons. Like I said, I've been blogging for the past 6 years, and I'm really ready to stretch myself yet again and go out of my comfort zone once again. Now, change can really be scary, especially for us autistic people, but it's also rewarding and beyond exciting at the same time. Not many podcasts out there are run by autistic people, and I'm ready to take that challenge heads on. I was also inspired by Michael Teo, aka Mr. A+ from the original Love on the Spectrum. His podcast really gave me the insight to actually want to launch a podcast on my own. So, Michael, if you're watching, thanks, mate. With Autistically Unapologetic, I want to talk a lot more about autism-related topics on a much more global scale that people actually find relatable, whether it's sensory overloads, traumatic experiences, interests and hobbies, and so much more. I'm also going to be having autistic guest speakers on this podcast and really have meaningful conversations with them. These autistic guests range all over from other motivational speakers, autistic influencers, autistic trailblazers in all different fields, and fellow Love on the Spectrum cast members, both in Australia and the United States. Now, if you happen to have a topic you'd like me to focus on for an episode, or if you know someone that I should speak with on this podcast, you can like, comment, and subscribe to Autistically Unapologetic on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or you can watch the full episode on my YouTube channel, Devin Morrissey. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Autistically Unapologetic. I'm Devin Morrissey, and I'll see you next time right here on Autistically Unapologetic.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Autistically Unapologetic with Devin Morrissey. If you like what you hear and you want to see more, don't forget to rate and subscribe to stay tuned for future episodes. Again, thanks for listening.